whispers. How are you tonight? I say tonight, but according to my stats on YouTube, you guys are hanging out at 4 p.m, so fair play. I probably shouldn't be up this late. Anyway, tonight we have a little book haul, I guess. There's only four books in this book haul. And I didn't get them all at once. I've kind of acquired them over a few days. Well, a few weeks actually. So one of them was recommended in a writer's group that I'm in. We had been looking at some different formatting things when it comes to writing, and this, I don't want to give too much away just yet, but this book has some really crazy formatting, so it's a really good example of how creative you can be with it. And then the other three books are just from the charity shops local to me. I do like to have a little look at the books in the charity shops because I feel the selection is usually smaller than when you go into a big bookstore, and it's a little bit less overwhelming. And sometimes you'll find something in a charity shop bookstore, from a charity shop's bookshelves that, you know, isn't in Barnes and Noble or Waterstones or wherever anymore, right? It's something older, but it still might be a really great book. So, I'm gonna see the little tippy top of it here, but I have switched out the Yeti's furry hat for one that is less likely to catch in my throat. I will put the fur one back on another time because I don't know that this foam one's going to sound quite as good. What do you think? Okay. Which one should I show you first? Okay, this one's kind of a tried and tested author, so whenever I see something from this author, I do usually pick it up and have a look. I don't always get them. The charity shop also had another one by this author, but it didn't sound as exciting to me. And this one, Robin Cook. Oh my gosh, to have something on my nail. No, I think the light just made it look really weird there. No, is there something on there? There was. So, R O B I N C O O K. So, I think I've told you guys before, but Robin Cook is actually a medical doctor as well as an author. So, he writes medical thrillers and stuff, which is a great way to write what you know. And he's really good at it. Honestly, I've read a couple of them. I can't think of the names off the top of my head, but the ones I read I really enjoyed. There must obviously be someone in my area that likes Robin Cook as well, because this isn't the first time that I found a Robin Cook book in the charity shops. So, this one is called The Cure, and I swear all his books have the exact same photo of him on the back, just standing there. This says, with her son's illness in complete remission, admission, New York City medical examiner Laurie Montgomery returns to work and finds her first case back to be a dangerous puzzle of the highest order involving organised crime and two biotech companies caught in a zero-sum game. There's a very hospital corridor looking picture on the front. Interesting, so there's multiple POVs in this book, because in here it looks almost like we're talking about someone else as well, a researcher. Pew. Up here. And we're not actually into the book yet because we are still at the reviews and stuff. So this might just be a continuation of this. A little bit on the back here. Let's see. Satoshi Makita, a former Kyoto University researcher, is said to own a valuable patent controlling pluripotent stem cells, which are designed to spark a $1 trillion industry of regenerative medicine. I have neighbours that get I don't know if it's this pluripotent stem cell treatment is probably made up for the book, but they actually get stem cell treatments and they swear by it. You have to harvest your own stem cells. I believe the younger you are, the better. They can take it from wisdom teeth and different things. And then when you're older, you can get those younger you stem cells and it can help with gut problems and different things. Anyway, I find all that really interesting. Okay, so this researcher is about to kick off this massive industry until he dies on a crowded New York City subway platform. Now, against the advice of her colleagues and her husband, Jack Stapleton, New York City medical examiner Laurie Montgomery is determined to discover whether his death was natural or something more fiendish. Okay, so it's not two POVs because Satoshi Makita's dead. Behind the scenes, there are people who would to see Laurie as far away from the investigation of the Satoshi death as possible. Oh yeah, there's some weird stuff going on here. Despite threats against her, Laurie presses on until threats are carried out against the person she loves most in the world, her son JJ. Suddenly, Laurie must face solving the crime and saving her son's life. What do you guys think of my nails? I think these are the longest I've ever had them done on. I don't know, is this like what a cat or something feels like with like big talons? I kind of like them though. So that is the little Robin Cook. How much did this one cost me? It doesn't have the price written on it. Oh yeah, it does. This camera's backwards from where I anticipate it to be. $2. A whopping $2. I don't even think you could get used books on Amazon that cheap. Because they tend to do, oh yes, really cheap, but then they'll whack $5.99 postage and packaging on it, you know. So $2 all in is pretty good. Although in America you pay tax, so the tax comes after the $2, so cats that are for animals where I live. So I like to try and give to them. If I'm having a clear out or whatever, I'll take my stuff to some of the different animal charity shops. So the one that I was in, this is going to sound really, really weird for my British friends, but for any of you guys who are in America, you're going to be like, that's totally normal, what are you talking about? But when I was in one of them, they had cats in cages waiting to be rehomed, little baby kittens and stuff. Oh, it's a struggle. I grew up with cats. I had 3 of them at one point when I was a kid. A black cat, which I loved, and the rest were, I don't know what the word is in America, but a tabby cat or a moggy is kind of what you would call them, I guess, in the UK. British short hairs, really. And I do not have a cat right now. I haven't had a cat since I lived at home with my parents, which is a long time ago. And I would love another cat. I always wanted one of those ragdoll cats. I think they're first white or grey, and when you pick them up, they just kind of, which is why they're called ragdoll cats, but they're just meant to be totally chill with being picked up and cuddled. But we have 2 big Dobermans right now, and the girl Doberman, we had bunny rabbits when she was a baby, so she used to go in the bunny rabbit's hutch and play with them and stuff, so her prey drive's not too bad for little creatures. But her brother, we got him, he was a COVID baby. We rescued him. He was really, really little, and it was during COVID, and it was really hard to socialise him and stuff. Not that it's easy to socialise them with cats and small furry animals, but he's just, there's no way we could have any other kind of critter in this house, because he would just, he has crazy prey drive, so yeah, no case for me, but I just see them when I go to the charity shop. How cool is this cover? I love this cover, oh my gosh. It reminds me, did anyone else when you were a kid get the art glass where they would like drop, is either liquid ink or just watercolours, and they'd give you a straw and you'd have to blow the straw and make all these crazy squiggles and stuff with the paint? Did anyone else do that, or is that just a really random memory that I have? But that's what this reminds me of. Do you know what I mean? It's a very fun cover. So this one, if I can get it in the camera properly, is called In the Woods. In the Woods. In the Woods. A novel by Tana. Now it does say that she is the author of the likeness. However, on the back it says that this is her debut novel, so I'm not really sure. This one won an Edgar Award, and it says on the front here from the Washington Post Book World that this is an ambitious and extraordinary first novel, rank it high. That's incredible praise. So this is how I would have seen it on the shelf, because there's certain authors, Robin Cook, if I see the name on the spine I'll have a look at it, whereas this one, it didn't recognise the author. But it said In the Woods, and it had the penguin symbol here. The rest of, you know what I mean, this In the Woods and this little Tana French kind of made it look like someone's made the cover themselves, because the spine just wasn't particularly designed to be eye-catching. It doesn't look like, compared to the front, that's gorgeous. So when I just first saw this kind of blank almost cover, I was like, what the hell? Then I was like, no, it must be something half decent because of the penguin thing and woodlands and different stuff like that. I love eco books, eco horrors and stuff, so I was okay, let me see. And then obviously saw the front cover with the Edgar Award and that really good praise from the Washington Post on the front, and I was okay, I think I need to give this a try. I wonder when it was written. So this is copyrighted to 2007. So, oh my god. No, it's almost 20 years old. Wow. Okay. I can't believe 2007 is almost 20 years ago. That feels awful to realise. Oh, I'm getting old, guys. So there's a little section here that says about the author. Tana French grew up in Ireland, Italy, the United States and Malawi. She's a trained actress and currently lives in Dublin. And then I'll read you a little bit from the back here. Oh wow, she actually won more awards, so it says right at the top. Winner of the Anthony McCavity and Barry Awards for the Best First Novel and the Edgar Award for the Best First Novel by an American author. So she has lived in lots of places, but she's obviously an American too. A Los Angeles Times Book Prize finalist. So it says the debut novel of an astonishing new voice and psychological suspense. And Tana French's powerful debut thriller. 3 children leave their small Dublin neighbourhood to play in the surrounding woods. Hours later, their mother's calls go unanswered. When police arrive, they find only one of the children, gripping a tree trunk in terror, wearing blood-filled sneakers and unable to recall a single detail of the previous hours. Certainly when I was growing up, I mean in Scotland it's not the same as Dublin, but culturally I'm sure there's a lot of similarities. Yeah, we would just go out and play. Even before we had cell phones, we would just go out and play and come back when it was getting dark, you know. 20 years later, Detective Rob Ryan, the found boy who has kept his past a secret, and his partner Cassie Maddox investigate the murder of 12-year-old girl in the same woods. Now with only snippets of long-buried memories to guide him, Ryan has the chance to uncover both the mystery of the case before him and that of his own shadowy path. So we've got a couple of mysterious things going on here that seem to be interwoven together, so that is definitely quite a lot of work for a first novel, you know. Readers who like their hard-boiled police procedurals with an international flair will love In the Woods. So I do love a police procedural, it will be known. I will binge through them. Tana French's intense debut novel In the Woods is part whodunit, part psychological thriller, and wholly successful. French's plots, twists and turns will bamboozle even the most astute reader. A well-written, expertly plotted thriller. And that's from Nancy Burrell, the correspondent for NPR's Morning Edition. And then the last one on the back here, it says, even smart people who should know better will be able to lose themselves in these dark woods. And that's by Marilyn Stasio, the New York Times Book Review. So it sounds like it's going to be a really exciting one. And like I said before, it's 20 years old now. It might not be on the shelves in Barnes & Noble or Waterstones or whatever, right? Or it could just be, you know, lost in amongst these masses of books so that, you know, I would never have come across it. Whereas from going to this little charity shop, I was able to find this absolute gem. So I really love reading books that are based on Britain, British mainland, Ireland, and obviously this one seems like it's going to be based in Ireland. It's got There's a bunch of stuff inside here. I'm not going to read them all, there's so many. Look at all that. And then is there... Oops. Irish author French expertly walks the line between police procedural and psychological thriller in her debut. And then that was from Publishers Weekly, and then Carcass Reviews said the result is a compellingly complex case with nuanced characters and a richly detailed sense of place. I mean, sounds like my cup of tea. This is nice. Galley Talk by Publishers Weekly. French may be a first-time author, but she has crafted a completely engrossing literary police procedural that kept me up much too late. This is quite an accomplished debut. I'm going to have to look her up and see if she's released more books since 2007. Oh my god. I hope she has. I'm going to have a little break. I have this, I feel like I have a random drink every time we chat, but tonight I have a zero sugar Mountain Dew Baja Cabo citrus, tropical citrus punch thing. It's probably caffeinated, it's probably a terrible idea for this time of night, but don't know if you can hear the bubbles. So, another book that I would never have probably come across. Warlight by Michael Ondaatje. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Sorry. This one's a hardcover, as you can hear. So, as you can see, we have a really beautiful cover. It's almost a sort of charcoal painting. And again, it says this one was a winner of the Booker Prize for the English Patient. Okay, no, so I guess Michael Ondaatje, he must have another book called The English Patient that he won a prize for. Let's see what it says on the back here. I can't remember what it's about now. Marked. Yeah, here it is. So, in a narrative as mysterious and luminous as memory itself, Warlight is a vivid, thrilling novel of adventure and love, intrigue and desire. It is 1945 and London is still reeling from the Blitz and years of war. 14-year-old Nathaniel and his older sister Rachel are seemingly abandoned by their parents, left in the care of an enigmatic figure they call the Moth. They suspect he may be a criminal and grow both more convinced and less concerned as they get to know his eccentric crew of friends, men and women with a shared history. All of whom seem determined now to protect and educate, in rather unusual ways, Rachel and Nathaniel. But are they really what and who they claim to be? And how should the siblings feel when their mother returns without their father after months of silence, explaining nothing, excusing nothing? A dozen years later, Nathaniel begins to uncover all he didn't know or understand during this time, and it is this journey through reality, recollection and imagination is told in this magnificent novel. He's justly recognised as a master of literary craft, and that he possesses awesome narrative gifts. Prose as beautiful and as clear as rainwater, a composer's artistry in the uncanny unfolding of his stories, a flair for suspense, and, not least, characters who make us shake, who shake us like a death in the family. His love of the world and its wonders, the kindness he offers to his characters and readers, the elegant lyricism of his sentences, the joy of storytelling, restore belief in the beauty and power of literature and by extension of humanity. And it says this one was printed in 2018. So, and it was printed in the USA. And in the back here we have a picture of the author, Michael himself. So he has written 6 previous novels, a memoir, a non-fiction book on film, and several books of poetry. He's won a Booker Prize for The English Patient, and he's won the Irish Times International Fiction Prize, the Giller Prize, and the Prix Médicis, I don't know if I'm saying that right, for A Neil's Ghost. He was born in Sri Lanka, and he now lives in Toronto in Canada. Awesome. And there's a list here of some other books by him, his prose and poetry, non-fiction. And this one, although it's a separate division, it's a separate division, but it is still part of Penguin. It's an imprint of Penguin Random House. I never hear people say it, so I don't actually know how to pronounce it. So again, this is a book that I wouldn't necessarily pick up, but for the grand price of $3, why not? I love that it's in London. I'm not normally someone who would pick up historic type fiction, but I've had a few recently that have been really good. I picked them up for other aspects of them, and actually the historic part ended up really adding to the vibe. So, you know, the historic aspect, I'm hoping I'm going to be able to enjoy it. And last but not least, are you ready for this next book? I don't think you're ready for it. It's not Destiny's Child lyric or something. this one. I think we will need to do another vote in the community to see what I should read after I finish this one. I couldn't not read it as soon as it got delivered, because this is the one that I got on Amazon. I was like, I need to dive into this. This looks like so much fun. After I've read this, I'll need to try and do a community vote and see what I should read next. The problem is there's a lot of books in my physical TBR list, and YouTube only lets me put four into the poll. So maybe just have to pick books out of a hat and see which four I end up with, and then put it to you guys to decide which one. Anyway, okay, I'm not going to hold you in suspense any longer. This is really cool. If you don't think it's cool, then we can't be friends. Or maybe you guys have already heard of this and I'm just like really late to the party. I'm not sure. I would be kind of sad if that's true, but so this is a New York Times bestseller, and it's called Illuminae. It's part of the Illuminae files, and my understanding is that this is book one of three. So this is part of a trilogy. It is a real chonker, the size of this bad boy. The Illuminae files. And you still haven't seen what makes it special yet, but I'm going to show you the back real quick. So this must be book two. So it says on the back here, error, and now with no other option, they have turned to me. And then in one of the white chunks it says, the year is 2575, and two rival mega corporations are at war over a planet that's little more than an ice-covered speck. Now, with the enemy fire raining down on them, exes, Katie and Ezra, who are barely even talking to each other, are forced to escape on the evacuating fleet. But their problems are just beginning. The fleet's AI has gone crazy. A deadly plague has broken out on one of the ships, and nobody in charge will say what's really going on. As Katie hacks into the tangled web of data to find the truth, it's clear only one person can help her. The ex-boyfriend she swore she'd never speak to again. And then one of the reviews down at the bottom here says, prepare yourselves. ... So, and this one is from 2015, so it's 11 years old now, so it's not new. The way that it's written is so unique, it's so cool. Content-wise though, it does feel kind of quite a young read. What would it be called? I'm not really good with all this kind of teens or young adult or something, just because of the way that the banter is between Katie and Ezra. It's not bad, it's just, you know, it's not literary or anything. It's very cool, it's very interesting, but just so you know, the kind of language and the banter between them is quite young feeling, which is fine. It brings a lightness that I think is nice to the book. But anyway, I'll show you what makes it so special. This book, the entirety of it, is not written like a normal book. Do you see how it's like, this is a briefing note, and it'll tell you different things about the note, and there's things that have been redacted, but you can still read them to get the full picture. So every single section is different in some way. This is an intercepted personal message, tells you who it's to and from. It shows that it's classified, top clearance. What else is there? There's like some really crazy pages. There's stuff like this. Okay, this is a countdown to something that's happening. And then over here, this is, oh my god, I'm really bad at trying to align this, but this is like notes that someone's taken. It's like being handwritten. And it's not handwritten, but you know, there's different fonts throughout it to simulate stuff like that, and it's wild. So there's transcriptions of audio recordings, transcriptions of video recordings, there's messages, private messages, there's broadcasts, there's, I don't know, there's a whole bunch of different things. It's just so cool. So you're not seeing it through a particular character's point of view. Quite often you'll, you know, the messages are between Ezra and Katie, but they'll also involve captains, lieutenants, pilots, different people on board, and it's not like you're ever in one person's head. I mean, there's some journal entries where you feel you are kind of in the character, but a lot of it is just you kind of reading through, seeing all these different transactional things that have happened. It's really interesting. Very cool idea. I love that a publisher was on board with making such a big book, because there's not a lot of writing on all the pages, you know. Some of them have a fair bit, some of them are more, I mean, you've seen, some of them are just wild. With kind of like pictures and stuff. So I love that a publisher actually spared all that kind of space in a book to do all that creative stuff. It's very, very cool. Unfortunately, I don't think that the publishing industry is in a place where they would probably do that again. Like now, I know that just based on, everyone says there's a downturn or whatever right now, but yeah, very, very cool book. I'm really glad that I found out about it. Shout out to, I think it was one of the folks I have a Sunday night writers session with. I'm sure it was one of them that had mentioned it. So thanks a lot for that. I love it. So intriguing, so interesting. I actually just read it because, well, I got it because I was interested in doing some epigraphs in my book. And an epigraph, if you're not a writer, is kind of like a little section at the start of a chapter that can be an email or a newspaper headline or a little article or an email or a text message or something, right? A small thing that is separate to the chapter that kind of happens at the start or before. And I was like, oh, this entire book's written with weird little snippet things. Cool, I'm gonna look at that and see if it gives me ideas for my epigraphs, but it's all quite futuristic and I don't know that it would work for my story the way that they've got things laid out. But it's definitely a lot of fun to read and just something really cool that I'd never seen before, so. But collection. There's not a whole lot of waiting around or anything. And since then, it's just been, I need to read more. I was hoping I'd have it finished before I recorded this, so I could record a review of it, but unfortunately, I'm not there yet. Someone invented this pesky thing called work, and I have to do it sometimes, and I don't really like it, but anyway. If you've read this, I would love to hear what you thought of it. Don't leave any spoilers, though. I'm not finished. Alright, my friends. So that is it for this video. I hope I've inspired you to go rooting around in your local charity shop for some interesting book finds. And if you do, drop me a comment down below and let me know what book you've picked up at your charity shop. That's it for tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed this little bit